phone sound. I'd like to welcome our moderators so we can get going on this. Whoever listens to Jackie and Bender. Well, you're in luck too, because they're also here. Please welcome, from 106.1 KISS FM, Mr. Jackie and Bender. Actually, that would be Miss Jackie and Mr. Bender.
How you guys doing? You all right? Anybody hear Dirk on the show later this past week? You good? Holy crap, the room is big.
Yeah, you guys go pretty far.
Everybody in the back of the room, can you hear us all right?
Yeah?
Yes, you're screaming.
Not very convincing.
Where exactly are the biggest Dirk Benedict fans? Up front or way in the back?
I'm thinking more in front.
Yeah.
We do want to make sure you guys know too, because it usually ends up becoming pretty full by the end of these, to kind of move in and up if you can, if there's any seats in the back. That way people that are coming in, because obviously these are reserved, so if you could do that, that'd be great.
You ready? Gotta be freaking kidding. Are you ready? Let me first introduce to you the 56th Army Band from Joint Base Lewis McChord.
They're going to be doing the A-Team theme. It's coming.
In 1972, a Pakistani was sent to prison by military court for a crime they did not commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade in the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. I'm Sergeant Williams, and this is the 56th Army Band from Joint Base Lewis McChord. We wanted to give you a little gift today. Actually, we got you a second one. Ours is the good stuff. It's a military issue there, sir. It might be.
It's Cuba!
Woo!
It's probably going to blow up on you in 18 style. Exploding star. Thank you very much.
Start running now, sir.
I wish Hannibal were here. This was his, you know, actually.
Hold on, I know, hold on.
I wish. No, George McCart, he was, Hannibal was the smoker of cigars, although I smoked them off camera constantly, and I'm going through nicotine withdrawal, by the way. I haven't had a cigar. I started smoking when I was 15, which is another story. Cigars on ranches. I grew up on ranches, and you can see how it stunted my life. But it's the first time that I've gone 2 days without a cigar.
Wow.
No, you have no idea. I used to go 2 days without sex when I was doing the A-Team, but this is more difficult. Oh, well, these guys are absolutely fantastic. I used to play the trombone, and it would have been my dream to play with some guys as good as this. And this is I really like this. A French horn in this military band is really, really terrific. So thank you.
One more time for the 56th Army Band from Joint Base Lewis McChord.
That was impressive, wasn't it?
You all right?
Man, oh man, that was hard.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, Dirk Benedict.
It's hard for me to talk when I I can't see anybody. Oh,
It goes pretty far back.
How come you're so far way back there? Yeah, in the back of the, yeah. It's hard for me to talk when I can't smoke. I mean, this is true. I reached a point in my career where I couldn't act unless I had a cigar in my hand. In fact, I couldn't do anything unless I had a cigar in my hand, which created problems in my relationships, but it did, it's true. Every girl that ever broke up with me and said, oh, he said, and another thing, those damn cigars. No, but you know, cigarettes are a one-night stand, but cigars, that's a marriage. Yeah.
So where do we start? Do we start with the A-Team? Do we start with Battlestar Galactica? Where do we start? Where do you want to go?
To begin at the beginning. You know, my beginning was right here in Seattle as an actor. It was at the Seattle Repertory Theater in 1969-70. Yeah, I got a lot of great memories here. I had a little place up on Queen Anne Hill, and in those days I had a resident company. There were about 30 actors, and it was my first job, and so I was what was called an apprentice. It was how I got into equity. And there was another kid who was 10 years younger than me, because he was right out of high school. I was out of college. I went to school in Walla Walla, so. I didn't go to school in Walla Walla, but I knew you guys would cheer.
Excited.
I didn't know where the hell Walla Walla is. No, it's a town that Walla is such a nice name, they named it twice. It used to be called Walla. No, I did go to school there. I can't remember which decade, but it was after that I was in Seattle Rep, and there was this other apprentice named Richard Gere. And I never thought he'd make it, and he never thought I'd make it. So one of us was right, but wasn't Richard. No, I made it, but I made it to Seattle. I started in Walla Walla, and I'm back. So everything comes full circle. Yeah. I haven't worked in Seattle since. This is the first job I've had in Seattle since 1969. 50 years. The big question is, what in the hell have I been doing with my life the last 20 years? You know, you haven't seen me on TV doing anything since, what, 1986, 87, so. And if I knew the answer to that question, then I wouldn't be standing here. No, I know the answer.
He tells Jackie and I backstage, he says, I mean, I know you're going to have some questions and stuff, and I'm sure the audience is going to have some questions and stuff, but you just ask a question, and I'm just going to go.
And we're like, that's fine.
Just going to go.
Do your thing.
What's that?
Just going to go. We were going to ask questions and stuff.
Yeah, we don't know.
Oh, you can. Feel free. You can. If I don't like the questions, I'll just give it false answer. He's got a perfect. I got to learn how to do it. Is this how you do it? Is that better? Is that better? That's more manly. I sound more manly. No. Wait, is that good? No. You got to put it up close, right?
We did ask you on the one question that got you going.
No. What? You liked it better like this? I don't know. They're professionals. Anyway, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. I had my birthday March 1st. I turned 68.
Wow.
That's great. I got divorced when I was 50. I became a single dad. You know, it's funny. I played a ladies' man. You know, I only played one on TV. In real life, I wasn't one. You know, it's like the guy who played the doctors on TV. He said, I play one on TV. I'm not a doctor in real life. Well, I played a ladies' man on TV, but in real life, I was not a ladies' man. Well, I was kind of until I lost all my money, and then. Well, I got a great story. I'll tell it later about how I became sexy. No, I wasn't sexy until I was 30 years old, but it was weird.
What were you before that?
Are you going to sit? Should we sit down?
Well,
I don't
they
like
kind
that.
of told
You
us
understand?
that
Well, I don't know.
it's pretty deep.
Well, it's your
I like
show.
couching. It's my show. This is my show.
Yeah, it's your
I
show.
want to give the people what they want, but
Which is
in order to do that, we'd have to go back to my hotel room and say, no, I want you to have an intimate experience. I want you to share something with you that's... I've written 2 books, both very intimate. One's called Confessions of a Kamikaze Cowboy, which basically is my life up till 1984. and the other is called And Then We Went Fishing, which is about the death of my father and the birth of my first son. Two stories told back and forth because they're both very traumatic. And so it's about the fear of fatherhood and about the segue of, you know, becoming an adult. I was 18 when my dad was killed, so it's about letting go. Both my books actually are about letting go. I had cancer when I was 28 years old, and so I had to deal with that, and so that made me very detached about Hollywood and show business. When we did Battlestar Galactica, part of that, I was just so happy. It was so unimportant to me, all the stuff that it's supposed to be important about, because I had survived the death of my father was murdered when I was 18, and I saw it happen. So then I got drugged into testifying, you know, and blah, blah, blah. So it was very, you know, it's the kind of thing that can drive you into becoming an actor. You either become an actor or you blow your brains out. No, I'm joking. I never wanted to be an actor. I got drunk once when I was at Whitman College and ended up being, you know, I'll tell that story later, but...
That's two stories now, we have to wait on.
To keep track of a lot.
So anyway, I learned at an early age to enjoy the moment and to not take a lot of the material world very serious. So it made it possible when I became publicly known doing Battlestar Galactica, to keep it in perspective and to really enjoy it. So I really got to enjoy my celebrity in a way that I have had friends who didn't, because they were afraid of losing it, you know. So you can only have things truly if you're not afraid of losing them, and then you can enjoy them. So I realized how empty it was and how meaningless all that was. And so I had a really, really, really wonderful time. And I think that affected the character I played, Starbuck, who had that kind of attitude. It was just to enjoy the moment. Same thing with Faceman. So there you go. What was the question?
I don't think we remember.
Go ahead. Ben.
Which character, what did you enjoy more? Did you enjoy playing Faceman more or Starbuck?
Well, I enjoyed more playing Faceman because he was sillier. And my core personality is very silly. As my kids say to me, he said, "Dad, does everything a joke to you?" And I said, "Yeah, especially the two of you." No, I always innately saw the humor in the seriousness of life. So Faceman, you know, that character, that show was such a cartoon, and the other three, how many actors were there? Every show I'm in, I'm the only one I really remember, so. It's true of my relationships too, which is why, if somebody could explain why I'm still single why I haven't had actually I know the answer to that question too, now that I think
You live in Montana, that probably doesn't.
No, I live in Montana, yeah, and the truth is, as I started to say, I became a single dad, and I became, in doing that, I had to start, my kids were really young, I had to become a woman. So it was really weird, and I became aware of the fact that I was morphing into a Mr. Mom. Because when kids are little, they want their moms. So I had little boys, they want mama. And mama was not around, you know. So in a way, they didn't lose their mother, they lost their dad. Because I was busy nurturing and doing that stuff. So that was an education. That was enlightening. It was the most fascinating and deepening and spiritual journey I've had. It was more difficult and more illuminating and more grounding than surviving cancer. And that's why I have this whole thing about American women, well, the movement in America away from the home, where being at home is looked down on by the mainstream thought about what women should do with their lives. You know, to be a homemaker is like, well, it's like a fallback position. Because I kind of did that for I mean, that's what I've been doing. In fact, I've been suffering the empty nest now. I don't quite know what to do with my life now because I was so busy being a single parent, and now I don't know what to fill it with. So, but anyway.
So what are you filling it with?
The what?
Day to day. I said, what are you filling it with?
I don't know. I'm looking for. Maybe if I find the right woman, I can have more kids, and I can. Because I became really.
Just saying.
Oh, really? Really? I thought she was.
And this is my ex-husband trying to fix me up.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is
I
that
swear.
your history?
Yeah.
Is that your history? You were once, and now you're no longer.
No. This is
Really?
about
Oh,
you.
sorry.
So you're really good
Oh, no,
friends.
he's turning the panel. He's turning the panel.
This is about you.
I think you shouldn't have started the whole.
I know. We all have our. That's really wonderful. That's great. That you're single, not that you were with him.
Thank you. Thank you, Dirk Benedict. I could do Montana, sure.
Hey, what? Have you ever been to Montana?
No, but I picture it being very
It's
pretty.
very beautiful. Very beautiful. It can be. I'm getting tongue-tied.
No one's ever tried to fix you up on a panel before? Come on.
I don't really, part of me is really uncomfortable doing this because I've been a normal person for so long, and it's really hard to be an actor again. Although I have been working. I was in England, 2010. I toured England for 6 months playing Lieutenant Columbo on stage.
Oh.
One of the best experiences I've had as an actor, and I must say this because there's nobody here that saw it, I don't think. And if you were, keep your mouth shut, because I'm going to say I was brilliant. No, I had a great time. I was in 23 different towns, and I did a panto there last November, December, January. So I've been working a bit doing stage, which is how I started in Seattle. And I was in Broadway, starred on Broadway, so I wanted to go back to the theater. So I have been doing that, but, I don't know. Acting doesn't really draw me. No.
You like
And
past
the
that?
A-Team was such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. I started to say those three guys, when I met them, their personalities were so big, and they were so raucous, and they were so bold, and they were so fearless, and they were all conservative. I mean, I was a conservative in Hollywood, and way back before, I didn't know I was. I was just a country boy, and I grew up where you were self-reliant, and everybody's mother pickled and canned, and had a garden. I mean, that's where I grew up. So Hollywood was a strange place, so people would tell me to shut up or leave the room. And in fact, I almost got fired for doing Battlestar Galactica, or doing Battlestar because of the cigar. They were going to fire me, and also because I had made Starbuck such a womanizer. The memo came down, Dirk telling him to cool it with the girls. I guess I was being too lecherous or so. I didn't really understand.
That wasn't written in. That was you just went.
Yeah, because if you watch as the show went on, the writer, Glenn Larson, creator, loved it. The cigar was not in the script. I just added it, And the guy, every girl he met, he wanted to have a relationship with. So even when it wasn't written, I'd be checking them out. So in dailies, the executives had to say, tell Dirk to quit, tell him, what's he doing? Every scene, he's like looking at these girls like he wants to get them in bed. Duh.
Which then brings us to the point where we only touched on this for a second on the air, but in the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, Starbuck was a girl.
Right.
What the hell is that?
Lost in castration. You've heard of Lost in Space. Well, Starbuck was lost in castration, which is a kind of translation, I guess. Well, what was up with that is, I'm only, going on intuition, but my whole life has been about intuition, which is not very popular nowadays because it's all stats and study and data and experts' advice and getting a panel together, got to get a group and a committee. I just always followed my own intuition, which is what both my books are about. It's a little voice, and early on, I heard that little voice, and I used to follow it, and I was lucky I had a dad say, follow, do that. I mean, you can say it's your dream, you can say it's your, but it's this yen to do something. And generally speaking, for all of us, everybody around you will say you're crazy, because it's you. That's who you really are. So my whole life has been that, and I came from a town and 900 people. I started, and I did go to school in Walla Walla, but I ended up starring on Broadway right after, And that was pretty crazy. I mean, I look back on it, and when I became an actor, I mean, and then the whole food thing, you know, I changed my way, and people, this is back in 1970, people thought I was crazy, they're gonna lock me up, I mean, literally, to protect me from myself. So it's just a little voice, and, oh, what was that?
We were going to try to get you going
The
about
little voice
how much
is
you
telling
love
me
the
to shut up,
female
huh?
Starbuck.
What?
We knew we could probably get you going on the topic of the female Starbuck.
Oh yeah, the female Starbuck. So my
'Cause we
little
know you're a
voice
fan.
told me to, yeah. Well, so I was a conservative. So there's, you know, Hollywood is a very, very political town. All towns are, and it's very liberal. It's a very Democrat. It's like Seattle, only more so, because it's got show business. It's got power. It reaches them. So early on, so the characters I played, both of them, are not appealing characters. You don't see them on TV anymore. I mean, Starbuck and Faceman, you don't see. In fact, you see them in the movies a bit, but you don't see them because they're lovable scoundrels. They're like Shane. You know that old Western Shane? Cowboy? Oh, yeah, Alan Ladd. But that was common. It was the cowboy who came in, and all the women loved him. He was sexy. And they looked at their farmer, rancher husbands who seemed kind of boring. And Shane would come in and he would fight the bat. And then he would ride off into the sunset. And now the truth is, so that character's gone because it's misogynistic. It's just not. What is all that?
What?
No, I'm hearing voices.
Oh, I think they're chatting.
No, I'm nervous.
Oh, we may
So
have-
anyway, when they came to remaking Battlestar Galactica, it was an old-fashioned Shane Western-type TV show. We had Lauren Green. It was family. It was religious. It was spiritual. It had a spiritual theme, motif, underpinning. It was about family. It was about hope. It was about faith. It was about the faith that against insurmountable odds. The new show, that's all gone. That's the America of those. Now we have, and it was about the individual, but now we have the opposite. We have dysfunction, despair, disenchantment, and secularism. There's no, God is not fashionable. It's not fashionable to believe in Jesus Christ or to believe whatever you're, you're a little extreme. That's a little bit much to have a belief in a higher power, unless you're a drunk, and then you realize the only way to get out of that mess is to let go and let God. But so that's part of it. So when they remake it, they did what they did. They just flipped the show upside down, basically upside down. But when they came to Starbuck, what do? This guy, you can't put him in the show, A, and B, he's not allowed on television, so what do? You can't still have him and sort of just tone him down. You can't make him a drunk and a loser and abusive. I mean, so you just make him a girl. I mean...
Don't sugarcoat it for us.
So, yeah, well, I always said Hollywood tried to, castrate me for 25 years, and then they finally did it through one of my characters.
And what did we go from Battlestar Galactica to the reboot to then Bradley Cooper tried to pull off Faceman in the 18 movie.
Yeah, what is it with I've only known for 2 shows, and both of them have been rebooted, reimagined, redone, regurgitated. And the first, and I love that. That's a great compliment. I really love it. I love the fact when they were redoing Battlestar Galactica, I thought it was fantastic. And I didn't care if I was in it or not. But when I saw what they did, I was not surprised. I was surprised by the castration of me. I thought they would kind of just, but they just did what they did. And then the A-Team, I was hoping against hope, they would make it what we were, which was a cartoon. We were silly. It was a silly show that hung on to reality just enough to keep you interested. And we worked very hard at that. Mr. T is a silly man. Dwight Schultz is crazy and silly. Like I said, I like to see the humor. So all day long we laughed, and we knew who we were making it for. We were making it for 8-year-olds and 80-year-olds, and it was the place to sit and see a band of brothers tease and joke and laugh and fight and get the bad guys, and it was And they took that out. They took the corniness out, the silliness out, because that's making fun of yourselves. And big movie stars don't make fun of themselves. I mean, you can't be Bradley Cooper or Liam Neeson and make fun of yourself. They don't want to do that. Robert Redford would never play Spaceman or Starbuck because I was making fun of myself as Spaceman. He was kind of a he was kind of a failure as a ladies' man. And in the way he dressed with the silk scarves, and he didn't want to get hit. And all of which the network hated. They were going to fire me because they wanted me to be the next David Hasselhoff, who was doing Knight Rider. Tight jeans, black leather jacket. I used to get notes. Dirk's collar's not turned up. I was supposed to come into every scene like this. So, how you doing? I'm Face Man. I did. I said, no. So I fought for 10 episodes. And I got George Papard. George says, absolutely, you're right. And like I said, he just said, the hell with it, we'll do what we want. So we went to the costume. I said, I want to be a really, really top of the line, dressed like a top of the line used car salesman. I want to be a Beau Brummel, but it's a little off. It's a little too much. Or it's like, and then I talked to the writer. I said, I don't want to make him not a coward, but he doesn't want to get hit. He doesn't want to fight. He don't want to get his clothes dirty. Because that's fun and funny and vulnerable and off kilter and I finally won the argument, but the network always hated me for it. Hated what I did to that character. He was supposed to be a studly TV guy. So my inner voice knew that what I needed to be was we were all a bit of a buffoon. Mr. T was the best. I mean, he played a big muscle guy, but there was that giggle in you could see the giggle was right behind the muscles. He was about ready to start laughing. So that show was kind of a lightning in a bottle. That those three actors are all really smart people, really smart. And we would laugh, and so I've never had an experience before or since like that. It was crazy. So.
When you guys, actually was your idea, and we had learned this when you were on with Jackie and I earlier this week, when it was merged, Battlestar Galactica and the A-Team in the intro of the A-Team, when the Cylon went walking by, I had mentioned, you guys remember that? You guys remember the intro? Yeah. Well, I had brought that up to him on the air, and unbeknownst to me or anybody else, that it was your idea.
It was my idea. It was my idea.
And again, they didn't like it.
No, well, they didn't get it. I did it for the people that were doing the editing for the A-Team were big Battlestar Galactica fans. So we were at the Universal. We shot at the Universal lot, I think, twice in 5 years. But we were there, and it was lunchtime, and the Cylon that was in the tour was on a break. So we're getting ready to shoot this scene by the van, and the actor is walking, holding his Cylon head, and he's walking, like this. And I just got it. It came to me. So I went to him. I said, hey, where you going? He said, oh yeah. I said, would you do? He said, oh, that'd be fun. I'd love to. I said, okay. So I went to the director, Tony Mordenti, and he goes, what? Why are you doing? What are you doing? I said, Tony, it's just for the guys in editing. Nobody will. It's at the top of the scene. He's just going to walk in front, and I'm going to do a little double take. It's for them in editing. Okay, it's just an in-joke. Oh, God, you don't have time for this. All right. Oh, Jesus, God, that's the Tony Mordenti. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God. So then, okay, action. He walks across, and I went, and then we went on with the scene, and I forgot him. The guys laughed, and then they put it into the credits, which was really great. That wasn't my idea to use it. I'm glad they did, because it was an homage. It was an homage to what went before.
You guys have any questions? Oh, yeah, sure. All right. So, do you want to go down? Jack?
I thought that they had moderators, but...
We have moderators here?
Yeah.
Not really.
Oh, they've dropped the ropes. So now you guys come up to the microphones.
Exactly.
So you guys have a question for Dirk Benedict, come on up.
We got the first one.
Look at her. She goes, come on down. She's running.
She's ready.
Hi. So when I was little, and my parents wanted us to sit down and shut up, my parents would put Star Wars on for my brother, but for me, they would put on Scavenger Hunt. Oh. My favorite movie with you in it. and I was just wondering if you could speak on your experience with all those other big actors, like, you know, Scatman Crothers. I know in the movie you guys all split up.
Scavenger Hunt.
Yeah.
Holy cow. How many here have seen Scavenger Hunt?
Yeah!
I'm stunned. I think you're the 20 people that went out to see that movie. God, Scavenger Hunt.
That was one of the
All I
first things
remember
to show
is
on
there was a
cable.
lot of cocaine on the set. Hey, you know, I had no social life as an actor because when I was really hot and working a lot, doing all these movies, everybody was doing cocaine. I mean, it was not everybody, you know, I'm generalizing, but it was endemic. It was in people's contracts.
Yeah.
I would sit in makeup. I sat in makeup on Scavenger Hunt, and the pipe would go down the makeup line. And I go, oh, no thanks, no thanks. Oh, man, you know, Dirk, you're so square. You're such a square. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. I've never acted better. It gives you energy. It's great. It was treated like Red Bull is today. So, yeah, really. I mean, it was not harmful. It was not addictive. God knows. It was just this wonderful, energizing, wonderful little powder. It was great. And they did have a lot of energy. They would run around and act, and they did act. So I was never invited to the parties. So when we would wrap, that was shot in San Diego. It had a big, beautiful suite. Wrap, cut, everybody would go to the cocaine parties or to the parties where there was drugs, and I would, you know, sit all alone with my cigar, you know. And now I like to smoke my cigar and have my whiskey, and nobody does drugs, nobody smokes, nobody does anything. So the same people that I saw face down in the bowl of cocaine, now they don't even want to smell smoke. They turned into like they're born again, what would you call them? Born again anti-smoke, born again anti-drug.
Born again non-smokers?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with people on the left. When they quit something, they want the whole world to quit. It's like, I don't eat meat, so by God, everybody's got to quit eating meat. And I don't eat meat. I haven't eaten meat since 1971, but I never went out and said, and therefore, all you people got to quit eating. No. I try and convince you, but I don't want to pass a law. Because I don't smoke, because it's bad for you. You know, and that is a reason to stop things that's bad for you. We stop relationships. It's the last thing, you know, the last irrational act that's not illegal is falling in love. It's the dumbest thing you do in your life. It's totally irrational because you know, people around you will say, well, wonder, what does she see in this guy? Or vice versa. What the hell is he thinking? This girl is crazy. They're in love. So it's okay. They're in love. And it's nuts. Nobody who's in love is rational. But it's not illegal yet. Not yet, but doing something irrational like firing up a cigar, oh God, that's bad for you. Without irrationality in your life, you go insane, you go nuts. This is why people are now skydiving and bungee cording, because their life is so risk-free. They're dying to take a frickin' chance. Well, take a chance, light up a nice stogie and have a whiskey and come to That's the kind of talk, though, that keeps me banned in Hollywood. You know, if I talk like this in Hollywood, and I know there's some of you out there now that are going, what a giant jerk this guy is. What is this? He actually thinks smoking's good for you. I know some of you are thinking, you know, but in Hollywood, my mic would be totally dead by now.
Oh, mine broke. You have a question over here.
Huge fan, loved you half my life.
Which half, the first or the second? This is very important because, you know, I'm everybody's first crush and nobody's last. I haven't been laid since 1995.
See me later.
I shouldn't say those things.
I'll get a number for you if you want to share.
Maybe you just have to ask.
Somebody start taking numbers. I shouldn't say those things. If my sons were here now, they would be embarrassed. They would say, Dad, what? You can't talk like that. You're an old guy, for crying out loud. I mean, just cool it with them. Actually, my sons are fantastic. And I'm so proud because the only two things I've done remarkable in my life. One is my book, Kamikaze Cowboy, about surviving cancer the old-fashioned way. And number two is raising my sons by myself from age 3 and 5. And They're fantastic. One of them is a fantastic athlete. And he's, I had to do it. I mean, yeah, I know. It was hard. It almost killed me. I mean, Dwight Schultz, Murdoch, would call me. Okay, it's your turn.
I was gonna say, you're contemplating telling the story, aren't you?
He's like, maybe I should. I don't think she ever got her question out. And then,
No, I got emotional because Dwight, when it first happened, all of a sudden, I'm with you. He would call me every night to see how I was. It was cool. Because I'm up in Montana in a little log cabin, 900 square feet, 900 square foot log cabin, me and the boys. I got a wood cook stove, wood heating stove. It was my bachelor pad, and I built this cabin. This cabin was built in the 20s. I had it all tricked out, but it was off the grid because I wanted it to be completely. This is 1977. I bought it, so it had kerosene lights, wood cook stove, and a gravity flow of water from an artesian spring, and a spring house. Fantastic. It's still that way today, although I've since pitched a tent where the kids and I live now. No, I built a house. I built a real house. But we lived there for 10 years, so he would call me. I'd be in that cabin and say, how's it going? Are you going to make it? I don't know. But I did make it. So my sons, when they have friends, they go out with, just the other night, Roland's the guy's been playing soccer in Europe. He plays soccer in Europe. He's 23. He got out of high school at 18, scholarships, University of Puget Sound, all these places to play basketball. I know, isn't that fantastic? We went and visited. He wanted him to come and play basketball. No, and then he says to me, because I raised my kids to follow their little voice, and the little voice is telling Roland he wants to go to Europe and play professional soccer. Now, my first reaction is that's impossible. I mean, you can't. Montana is not a mecca for soccer. Seattle is a mecca for soccer. I mean, you have, really. I mean, you have all these programs, these academies for young kids. I mean, it's just endless. It's a real strong place in the country for soccer. Montana, no. I mean, it's strong for skiing and horseshoes and and raising sheep and falling in love with sheep and. So anyway, so I'm thinking this is crazy, and then I realized, well, he's doing what I told him. So I said, okay. So make a long story short, off we went to Europe, and I knew, and my friends said, well, this is terrible. You're doing this because, what's going to happen when he doesn't make it? And he's going to find out he's not good enough, and in other words, he's going to fail. He's going to fail. And of course, I said, well, without failure, you don't find out who you are. It's all about failure. Without failure, there's no joy, there's no success, there's no life. You don't really, and it's awful. Nobody wants to fail, nobody wants to suffer, and yet, if you just think of it, when something bad happens, and you know that the seed of its opposite is inside it. So when you're unhappy, that's the seed of joy and happiness. When you fail, in there is the secret to succeed. And it's true. I mean, it's just a universal truth. When I discovered this, my life changed. When I realized that this is the paradox where truth is buried in paradox, and that's how it all works. And I used to tell try to tell Richard Hatch about this. He thought I was crazy. But anyway, so my son wants to go. Lo and behold, he was good enough. Played with Gilliam. They couldn't sign him for various reasons. Then Manchester City, richest football club, soccer club in the world, heard about this American kid who, when he came off the training pitch, wouldn't eat sugar. This is one of the stories about my son Roland. And he comes off, and they always give the guy sugar. He's 17, and he's at the South End United, really good team, just south of London. And he's training in the academy with the academy players, and he's there 4 months. So he comes off, and they always give him sugar, sugar. So my kids never had sugar in their life. So I'm sorry, do you have an apple? Oh, so these ladies that ran the kitchen, they went and found him an apple. So every time he come off, you get an apple. So then they had an apple. Well, then the players noticed that my son Roland never gets tired. He said, well, that's because I don't eat sugar, because sugar goes how come you just go? It's like me. Today, I sat at the table yesterday for 8 hours. I didn't pee. Well, I peed. Okay, we're Pampers. I'll admit it. I got these things. No, I never went to the bathroom. I never had food. I just sat there and did it. So that's a result of food. So anyway, so Man City heard about this kid who got a whole team to switch to having apples. This is crazy. So they brought him up for 2 days to have a, just look at him, at Man City. This is where guys make 85,000 pounds a week. He's 100, over 100,000. And they fell in love. They kept him for a week. Then they sent him to Belgium. He's been playing in Belgium. So.
Wow.
Very good.
Oh, they found
No.
I don't think she ever
Oh, she still wants.
She just offered up her number.
I know, but she didn't even do it.
And then you went off on a tangent.
No, she offered up more than her number.
Ended up at Manchester United. We're good. Go ahead.
I was just curious, what does the future hold for you?
Well, you, according to you, working tonight is.
It's going to be pretty fun.
No, I wish I had. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't really know. It's kind of. I don't know.
You don't know.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Well, I just wanted to let you know that you inspired an entire generation, 2 generations of chance takers. My family owns a wildland firefighting company named A-Team. And each of our trucks, we got to pick, for each of our 5 trucks, we got to pick our favorite A-Team character. My truck is the face truck.
Yeah. Great, the pickup.
The question I wanted to ask you was, out of all the A-Team, series, you guys were together for a long time, what was your favorite behind-the-scenes time? Any embarrassing stories? Anything that happened? They pranked you? Anything like that?
Oh man, I'm so bad at this. I got holes in my memory from too many cigars. Don't smoke, it's not good for you, kid.
You just did a whole thing to get every light off.
It's frowned upon. It's frowned
And by the way,
I was
have a
just
job for
joking.
you.
Without smoking, we wouldn't have wildfires and she wouldn't have a job. Come on, you gotta create work. I used to fight fire. Well, a behind the scenes story, gosh, I'm so bad at that. God. I'll try. Isn't that funny? I can talk for hours about truth and paradox, but ask me what, to remember something. The truth is, A-Team was so damn funny all the time, it's a blur. People say, what do you remember about the show? I said, I just remember laughing. And mostly at Mr. T. Because when we did the show, Mr. T, he didn't stop talking. He would show up talking, and then he wouldn't stop. He was a non-stop talker about everything, stream of consciousness. And so after about a year, people are working, and he's just there talking. And then Dwight talks a lot, and then I was kind of the quiet one, but I would get words in. So people would.
You were the quiet one?
I was thinking the same thing.
Maybe I didn't get to talk much then, so now
I think we might only have time for like 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay.
I know.
By the way, you have a job if you want it.
Okay, great. I'll be the
For your free time.
I'll be the front man.
Hey, so as a fellow native Montanan, when I was a kid, loved the A-Team, loved your work. I did really enjoy the one moment in the movie where they did sort of an homage to the campiness and humorousness of the original show by letting you come out and tell Bradley Cooper, in my experience, don't touch the face. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And you never told us the story of how you got into acting, how you chose acting.
God.
That made
I know,
that
right?
made me too long. I'm sorry.
I can do it real quick. I was at Whitman College. I went there to play. They let me in. My SAT, my GPA was, I was 3.6 out of high school. To get into Whitman, you had to be 4.0. Okay, they let me in and a bunch of other guys because they wanted to improve their football team. Football's now gone from Whitman, but they had it, and they were always they wanted to so they brought us in. I was an all-state football. I went in. So I'm there my freshman year, and the team did get better. We were like, my junior year, we were like 8-3. So my freshman year, so all my friends are these football players. We're walking in the spring on the campus by the theater. Whitman had a wonderful theater program. I didn't know what that meant because I didn't know what a theater was, never been in the theater, never wanted to be an actor, didn't have movies growing up, didn't have TV growing up. It was a non-thing with me. But music was my thing. I had a Dixieland band. I had a Dixieland band in high school with a guy who has had a band for years in Seattle. Used to play the blue banjo. In fact, I used to play there while I was doing Seattle rep. I played the trombone at the Blue Band. So, I'm there, I'm into music, so that's what I want to major in, and what I did major in. But we're walking by the theater, and it says spring musical auditions. So I'm with 3 or 4 of my buddies, Andy Pollard, Dennis Eichhorn, Tom Skoog, and from Hawaii, Bill McCorson. I remember. So we're walking, and we're walking by. We'd had a few beers, just like that. And I go, oh, I could do that. And they go, you couldn't do that. Oh, I'd go in there. And, you know, it was like a house of ill repute or something. Going to theater? No, you couldn't do. I said I could do it. Oh, yeah. So they bet me $5. I wouldn't go in and do it. So I went in, and it was just one of the scared. Up to that point, it scared the hell out of me. It was dark. I didn't know what happened when you walked in. You know, I thought I might get in, and it all happened so fast. And I went in, and somebody came up and says, yeah. I said, well, I'm here to audition. Oh, yeah, okay. Here, just sign here. And then I'm sitting, I go, well, now what? They said, well, do you have something to sing? I go, oh, no. Oh, so that's fine. You'll sing one of the songs from the show. I said, well, okay. So I went up on stage, I sang, and then they handed me what they called a script. And then this girl came out, we read this scene, and then I went outside and I told her, so I got $5, I forgot about it. So Sunday morning, I'm walking down the freshman dorm, and Bill O'Reilly, big, tall, skinny guy, who I'd never spoke to, he was a freshman too, I'd never spoken to him. He was a theater geek and a little weird, you know, he was a little weird. He was kind of, you know, he was artistic, and it was just weird. And I'm walking, he goes, oh, Dirk, congratulations. And I said, what? I said, this guy never spoke to me. I said, what? He says, you got the lead. You got the lead. I said, where? I didn't know what he meant. I didn't know what a lead was. I said, oh. So he says, Gaylord Ravenel. You're playing Gaylord Ravenel. Showboat. I go, and it all came back. Oh, Christ. So the next day I went to the theater. I said, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I have no interest. It was just that I just did it for the experience. I went to the head of the department. Wouldn't let me out. Forced me to go to rehearsals. My friend says, don't worry. You'll be so bad. They're going to have to get rid of you because obviously you can't be an actor. You don't know anything about it. I went. I did it. And I walked in. And 20 minutes in, it was the most fun I'd ever had in my life.
And the rest.
It's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, give it up for Dirk